This video is going to be about using Christopher Woodin's icon cards, playing cards, to help students recognize dot patterns and work on their basic numeracy, particularly from 1 through 10. So this is the card deck. You can print out. I've included it in the slideshow. I would recommend printing it on darker cardstock because lighter cardstock you can see through it. So like I think I have it with a yellow cardstock. It works well, a darker yellow one. I'd laminate it and then I'd cut it out, but I just cut this one out for demonstration purposes. So what you see here is you see that how he does his numbers, basically 1, 2, 3, compared to dice or dominoes. The main thing with the 3 is, of course, it would be a line, usually a angled line of 3. 4 is the square, 5 is the X or the cross shape. 6 is not the lines of 3, it's a 5 and then a dot at the top. And he purposely does this because he's usually always building 5 and then adding on. Here's our 7, here's our 8, here's our 9, and here's our 10, and then Jack, Queen, King. We don't have an ace with his deck. I'm going to pull down these ones so you can see he doesn't believe in dot math, you know, those ones where you have like a bunch of dots, but he does believe in having pattern shapes that students can recognize because research has shown that students are much quicker to recognize shape patterns. So 1 is a dot, 3 kind of is that line, 1 is the dot, 2 is this line, 3 is a triangle as he presents it, 4 is the square, 5. So you can also, he uses them as shapes, but also as ways that you can kind of visualize the number on there. The 7 being what he calls a European 7, the 9 being circling the 4 and sliding over the 5, so you know it's 4 and 5. And he also points out, which all these different people who do research on math education, is that just like it can be hard for students to recognize that the shape of an A, a lowercase or a highercase A, is A and A, so is it hard for them to recognize that this shape means this quantity. And so putting it in patterns is really important to help them build their understanding of numeracy, and then of course recognizing that it's this word as well. So it's similar in terms of any students who have trouble with symbolism, whether it be the symbols of letters or the symbols of numbers, are going to often struggle in both areas. So some games you can play with these cards is, first off, you can go ahead and just play regular old war, which is, students each deal out all the deck, make a whole deck, deal them out, and then students each get their own card, flip it over. Okay, they say I have a 10 and I have a 5, and they get to just get practice recognizing these patterns, and this student wins, right? And this one I have a Jack with 10 and I have a 7, and they should say their names, and this one wins. So you can play standard war with this, which many of my students really like war, though they might have gotten sick of it in my class. Hopefully they'll enjoy it again in the fall. Another game that you can play is just addition, right? So you can just have them sort out so you only have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you can even make a 0 card if you wanted, and then have them each have a stack of cards, and they have to flip over 2 cards, and they have to say, 3 plus 3 is 6, and this student flips over theirs, and they get 5 plus 5 is 10, and so this student would win. So, or you could say whoever's the lower number wins. So just practice using and recognizing these dot patterns and how they combine to make numbers. Another game you could always play is a subtraction game, where you go, okay, here's 10, and we're going to practice subtracting from 10. So again, they could each draw a card and flip it, or you could have dealt out all the cards. So this student would be up 10, take away 9, again, recognize that as 9 would leave 1. So whoever takes away more wins. And this would be up 10, take away 1, leaves you with 9. And you could even cover it up. Say, okay, cover it up, what's left, right? So you took away this, and you took away everything except this. There's one dot there that was still there left, so that would be leaving you with 1. So these icon cards are useful, and I would suggest everybody print out a few copies of them for the students to be able to practice really sort of at a pre-symbol level, or because you're not dealing yet with the symbols, we're working with the dot patterns and then building on the symbols and connecting those.